Assalamu alaikum dear students, hope you are doing good and I welcome you here in today's session. So starting with the recap of the previous lecture where we have covered the flow oriented models and we have seen DFT as an example of flow oriented models, plus we have covered the major components of data flow diagram and its significance. Now in this session we will focus on behavioral aspects of the system and we will cover the examples of behavioral modeling as well. Behavioral modeling. So far, if we visualize that we have just covered the static aspects of the system, like we have dealt with the classes and their interactions or associations, plus we have dealt with object-oriented concepts like inheritance, composition, aggregation. These all play the static role in the requirement models. So now there is a time to study the dynamic modeling, and for this purpose we will refer to behavioral models as they are capable of specifying the system as a function of time and events. I am repeating it again that behavioral models are basically capable of specifying the system as a function of time and events. So here is the formal definition of behavioral models, that it indicates how the software will respond to external events or stimuli. These events are basically the triggers or the initiators through which you can see that the interaction between the user and the system take place. So here these are just some points which the analysts need to perform to construct the behavioral models. Going through them one by one, first one is showing you that he needs to evaluate all the use cases to fully understand the sequence of interaction within the system. Now if you recall the use cases, you will find out that the use cases are basically set of possible sequence of interactions between the system and the users in a particular environment and related to a particular goal. So from this type of information, the analyst is capable of extracting the sequence of interactions within the system. He is interested in finding out the sequence of interactions within the system. Secondly, he needs to identify events that drive the interaction sequence. Like these are those events that will start up the operation or will end up in the interaction. So he is interested in finding out those events and plus also how these events are related to specific objects. Thirdly, he will create a sequence for each use case. He will create the full sequence, or he will give you the complete sequence of interaction between the actor and the system. Finally, he will build up a state diagram and then he will review the behavioral model for further accuracy and consistency. So as we came up to know that these events play an essential role in the behavioral models, so there is a question that how we can identify these events with the use cases. So we have some general instructions for it, and we'll find out the events in the use case. First is that we will, whenever there is an exchange of information, you can find out that there will be an event that will take place. Again, focus on this, that whenever there is an exchange of information, there will always be an event that will be created or that will be occurred. Secondly, whenever the information is exchanged, basically it is the fact that that operation or that process has been started up or it ended in some result. Thirdly, we are taking an example, we are reconsidering the example of safe home security system function, again here to find out the events. So this is a scenario from the portion of safe home security system, and in this description we have highlighted the events taking place in the scenario. Also you can see the actors associated with these events, plus the information that is exchanged between the different objects along with the conditions or constraints applied on the scenario. So here we can see that an homeowner object basically started an event of password entered, and the information is passed to the other object of the control panel. The event might be called as password entered in this scenario. And you can further see that this type of information, that is he entered the 4-digit password, it is basically helping the password to be processed, but it is not essential part of the behavioral model. And also you can notice that some of the events have an explicit impact on the flow of control of the use case, and while other have no direct impact on the flow of control. Like if you can see that the event password entered basically does not change the flow of the control of use case. You just have to enter the password. Here the flow of control will not change, but the result of the event password compared, this is another event of password compared which happens here in this line, it will definitely alter the flow of control of the use case. So there are certain events that will impact, that will have a direct impact on the flow of the scenario, and there will be some events that will have an indirect impact. So once all the events have been identified, these events are then allocated to the objects involved in the scenario, and objects can be categorically defined as the generating event objects or recognizing event objects. Like if you're taking the example of generating event, you can see that homeowner generates the password entered event. It comes in the generating event category. And in recognizing event, you can see that control panel basically recognizes the binary result of the password compared. He is not initiating the operation, he is just analyzing the response of this event, password compared event. So we have defined the two categories, generating event or recognizing event. State representations. In this topic we will learn about state transition diagram, or you can say state chart diagram in detail. And to realize this, we need to see that there are two different characterizations of states that a system must consider. First is internal state of the system, and the second is external state of the system. And by referring to internal state of the system, it means that we are closely monitoring the state of each and every class of a system as the system performs its function. Like it's an internal view of a system. And the other one is external state of a system, and it shows that we observe the overall behavior of a system as the system performs its function. We are not closely monitoring the different states of a class. Furthermore, we can see that a class can take the passive and active characteristics. Passive state indicates that it simply tells you about the current status of all objects attribute. The important thing to focus is that it tells you about the current status of all objects attribute. And the active state means that you need to focus on the continuum transformation or processing. Like it's the one state transition from one state to another. This is known as the active state of a class. So students, in this slide we will look at the example of state diagram, and this is from the same scenario we have discussed in the identifying events section. So before starting with the flow of the diagram, I will tell you about the notations we use in state diagram. You see that these rectangles are basically telling you about the states of the system. Like it start in the reading state, then comparing state, we have locked state or the selecting state. And the other things of importance is that these labeled lines, These are basically telling you about the trigger values, which are responsible for initiating the interaction, or which are responsible for starting with the state change. And here is the example of the condition or constraint that will be taking you to the same state again and again until you reach the maximum tries. And this is the concept of self state, that you keep on coming to the same state again and again until the condition fails. So if in this case you need to see that it is known as a guard in the state diagram. The concept of constraint or condition is known as a guard in the state diagram. And here additionally you can see the action that is giving you the further insight of the state, that in comparing you basically perform the validate password operation, and this operation is known as an action, and you need to show this with the same block of the state. Further, now I will talk you about the flow of a system, that whenever a homeowner hits the key, it starts with the reading the entered value. So the password entered enables the comparing state, and in this comparing state it is keeping on the validation process up, and it is finally coming with the correct value if it is going to the selecting state, and if not, then it is in the locked state. And from the locked state, if the time is less than or equal to locked state, it is again moving to the locked state, and if the timer gets higher than the lock time, it is going to the reading state again. So these are deciding basically the flow of the control, these conditions. Here is another example of a state diagram for a real-time system of microwave oven, and it is intended to further increase your concepts of state chart diagram. You can see that the real-time systems can be best modeled through the state diagrams, and I require from you people that you should map these concepts to your knowledge, as you have been using the microwave in your daily life many times. So starting with this black circle, it is notifying the start of the operations. You first see the state of waiting, and it is showing you the operation of display time. Here you need to specify the action. At the very start you see the display time on the screen interface, and after that if you turn on the full power, it is the full power state, and there is an option of half power, and you go to the half power state. And alternatively you can go to the full power and half power states continuously. If you do the set power to 600 watts, you basically come towards the full power, and if you turn it to the 300 watts, you will shift to the half power state. So from these powers you can immediately go to the half power or the full power. So either from full power or half power will move towards the set timer state. And here we can see the concept of self state, like the user according to his wish will keep on getting the number, and once that number is set, he will exit to the enabled state, which shows you the operation of being ready. And after that the real operation starts, and the food is then now in processing part. So here we have two options. We just open the door, so it will yield towards the disabled state, or we can go towards the finished state, and then again the waiting state will be arrived, or we can cancel the operation to move towards the waiting state again. So this is the state diagram for the microwave oven.